His father was a state legislator, but his father was also a rancher. They were never successful. I think at times they lost the property. He never forgot that. Lyndon Johnson began early to have a feel for the poor. And when he got out of San Marcos State Teachers College, he became a teacher of poor Mexican-American children in a place called Cotulla, Texas. And that's where we could see the first germs of his compassion toward poor people and his interest in ending unfairness in America, not only economically, but socially as well, and that's how the Civil Rights Bill came into effect. As a matter of fact, running to improve poverty is not necessarily a popular issue because it costs money. But Lyndon Johnson had the skills that no other president of the United States ever had, and that was he was a parliamentary genius with the Congress. And I don't think in the legends that go down in history in the years ahead, Lyndon Johnson was recognized for the way he was to get legislation passed, or you want to call it manipulated. You can call it that too, because he was a great manipulator. He knew the Hill. He knew the congressman. He knew how to get things done. Believing in it as fiercely as he did, and feeling it so personally from living in this central hill country of Texas, where it's scrub country. It doesn't look very pretty. A lot of they're not great, beautiful mountains and that sort of thing. It is really scrabble country where people have to work hard to eke out a living. The ground is not as fertile as it is someplace else. It's full of rocks and that sort of thing. Lyndon Johnson learned what the problems were in America among poor people. It never left him to the day he died, and the war on poverty was really one of his greatest achievements. He would go to places where there was hardship, where there were problems, racial problems, segregation, where there was hunger, lack of education, just a lack of all the common facilities normal people have. He focused on that early on as president, and that was not necessarily a Jack Kennedy a legacy. That was Lyndon Johnson. Lyndon Johnson enhanced and continued a lot of the Kennedy programs for children and poor people. But Johnson then he embellished it with some of his own programs, which became a bigger and larger program and needed more money to do it. But when Kennedy died, Johnson said, "We shall continue." And this was a part of the continuation. And so he took on poverty as his theme. A lot of people thought, why would you do that if you're a politician? It costs so much money, and who cares? Well, Johnson cared, and the thing is, he made America care. We never went to the nicest places in America with Lyndon Johnson to make his speeches. He chose the places to go where the American people ought to know what it was like there. So he would go to Appalachia. He would go to Kentucky. He would go to places where coal miners were injured and where companies ruled the towns with company stores, etc. And I think that his purpose was to show America how the other side is living. The thing is that Lyndon Johnson knew that if he went there, we would go there. And if we went there, the cameras would go there. And if the cameras went there, everybody would know about it. And that was the genius of Lyndon Johnson. I sat on more sharecroppers beat up French porch stairs were falling apart, or in rocking chairs that were long ago should have been thrown away, where people didn't have enough money to buy a new rocking chair. I sat with young children and their parents. The young children were desperately in need of denture work. There was nothing, no one ever heard of an orthodontist in Appalachia. It didn't look like where I came from. And that's what Lyndon Johnson wanted to show. He wanted to show the miners that had been injured at work and can no longer work, their benefits that they didn't get, the health care they didn't have, and we brought the cameras. I can't think of a single president or presidential candidate today who would undertake a war on poverty. It's not popular. The most thing you'd hear today was, look how much this is going to cost. Johnson never got into the costs. He says, this is what we have to do. And he was able to move a nation into spending the money to do it.